In this segment, we will be covering the various functions, tools, and enhancements which can be quite useful but have not appeared elsewhere in this video. Let's take a look at these now. Load and Save Picture will automatically list the devices which are available in your system. A Number of Frames Edit field is displayed if loading while multiple frames are established. Entering a number in this field will load the selected picture into that many consecutive frames. If you have multiple frames when saving, you may enter a range of frames to save. When you click Save, the frames are saved as separate pictures with the frame number added to the end of the name. For example, if we enter 5 to 10 as the range, the frames are saved as sample 5 through sample 10. You can flip your entire picture horizontally or vertically without having to pick it up as a brush. From the Picture menu, Flip Horizontal lets you flip a picture about its x-axis. Flip Vertical lets you flip a picture about its y-axis. If there are multiple frames, you can flip one frame, a range of frames, or all the animation frames. In the Color Palette Requester, 2 more ranges have been added, bringing the total to 6. If Merge to Front or Merge to Back is selected when there are multiple frames established, you can affect the current frame, a range of frames, or all of the frames. The About box now contains more information. In addition to program version number and credits, information regarding the amount of available memory and the size of your animation or anim brush is displayed. The Edge function modifies a 1 pixel boundary around the current brush. Edge Outline adds a 1 pixel boundary using the current foreground color. This is ideal for outlining text. Edge Trim deletes a 1 pixel boundary around the current brush. Handle lets you specify where the cursor holds a brush. Center positions the arrow at the center of the brush. Corner positions the cursor at one of the 4 corners. And Place lets you position the brush at an arbitrary XY offset from the brush. The F8 key is now the keyboard equivalent for Smooth. The cursor on-off function has been moved to the Delete key. The Anim Load Requester works the same as Load Picture. When you load an animation, it replaces any other animation which may be in memory. When you append to an animation, the loaded frames will be added to the end of the current animation. Control Set Rate displays a requester allowing you to set the number of frames per second rate of your animation. You can also adjust the playback speed using the left and right arrow keys while an animation is playing. Control Set Range lets you specify a particular range of frames to play. The Make Stencil requester can be activated using the tilde key. If you have several animation frames and you make a stencil, DPaint automatically remakes the stencil as you step through the frames. If stencil is on when you pick up a custom brush, the stenciled colors appear transparent to your brush. This brings us to Prefs. The OR key will toggle whether the coordinates are displayed in the menu bar or not. Auto Transparency modifies the brush pickup so that it automatically determines the transparent color by looking at the corners of the captured area to see if they are the same color. If all of the corners are the same color, that color becomes transparent. Otherwise, the current background color remains transparent. When No Icons is on, files are saved to your disk without the icon info file. When Auto Grid is on, the perspective grid is automatically resized to match your current custom brush when you load or pick up a brush. This is the same as if you select From Brush from the Perspective Requester. We have now covered most of the new functions and updated tools that are found in DPaint 3. While there may be some other minor features, they should be self-explanatory or are well documented in your DPaint 3 manual.
I'd like to be able to map bitmaps onto 3D objects like cubes, rotate the cubes in space. I'd like to have extruded characters generated from bitmaps. I'd like to have sound. I'd like to be able to sync video recorders and and other output devices. There's just no limit to how far you can go with this. It just depends on if this turns out to be a really good way to do animation, which I hope it does. I'd just like to say to people to go out there and use Deluxe Paint 3 and do all sorts of things that no one could have possibly anticipated, and send the pictures and the animations into Electronic Arts so we can see what you're doing with it. Enjoy it.
Now that we've covered most of D-Paint 3's enhancements, we'll demonstrate how to combine these tools and techniques. This example will demonstrate the trail function in the Move Requester. First, load the brush called D-Paint Title, then set the number of frames to 40. Advance halfway through the animation to frame 20. Next, stamp the brush down near the bottom of the screen. Using Shift-M, bring up the Move Requester, set the Z distance to -1000, turn the brush button on, select Come To, and set the count to 20, and click Trails. D-Paint starts stamping the brush in the distance and continues to move towards us, leaving a trail. That was the first half of the animation. Now Shift-2 will advance us to the last frame in the animation. The tilde key brings up the Make Stencil Requester. Select the background color and invert. This protects all of the colors except the background color. Once again, bring up the Move Requester. Leave all the settings the same except the record direction. Set it to record in reverse. Again, click Trails. This time, D-Paint stamps the brush in the foreground and steps into the distance, leaving a trail. Notice how the stencil protects the trail from the brush stamps. This completes the animation, so play it back in a continuous loop. This looks similar to the title effects you might see on TV. Here's a list of the primary features that were used to create the trailing title. This next example will demonstrate Move's fill function. First, prepare a custom brush. Next, set the frame count to 18 and stamp the brush down in the middle of the screen. Bring up the Move Requester and set both the X and Z angles to 360 degrees. Make sure the count is 18. Preview shows the tumble effect that is going to be created. Next, click Fill to start D-Paint working on the move. Due to all the calculations, this takes about 5 minutes. Now play back the animation. You'll begin to wonder which way is up. Here's the basic functions used in this 3D fill effect. Now for the most elaborate example yet, a spinning bouncing ball. Bring up the palette requester and set the last color to red. Copy the red to the spot just 4 positions away. By doing a spread between these, 5 identical reds are created. Set the next color to white. Copy this white just 4 positions away, just as we did with the red. Now make a range which starts at the first white and goes to the last red. Make sure that all the other ranges are turned off. Next, go back to range 1 and set the speed to full.